Now, with the reduction in sales that a lot of fast food restaurants have seen over the past year due to high inflation and stalled wage growth, it looked like fast food might be a dying trend in this country, which would be a good thing for a lot of people because let's face it, most people don't need to be eating that. Well, maybe they found a way to turn it around, or at least we'll see, because McDonald's is touting how their $5 meal deal is actually working and is drawing the customers back in. And while this might be a good news for McDonald's, it might not be such good news for franchise operators who actually own the McDonald's restaurants. So back on June 25th, McDonald's rolled out their $5 meal deal where you could either get a McDouble, a McChicken, or 4 chicken nuggets, a small order of fries, and a small drink, which previously without this deal probably would have cost most people closer to $8. So definitely a little bit of savings there. And according to McDonald's, they say that immediately, as soon as this deal went live, that they were seeing people pour into their stores again. They say that visits on that day were 8% higher than any other 2024 Tuesday prior to that. Well, 8% is a pretty good increase in business. I'm not going to say it isn't, but it's also not a huge jump. Like, it's not like they saw 50% more customers come in now because of this. Did it lure some people back in? Yeah. But I think McDonald's is also blowing out of proportion how good this really was for them to give themselves some good press for a change, because they haven't been getting so much of that lately. And really, they say that ever since the launch of their $5 meal deal, that business has been picking up. Here's why this might not be such a good thing, guys. I know this sounds like good news on the surface that McDonald's is drawing people back in, but here's a couple things about it. Number one, this $5 meal deal is temporary. At least that's what they said it was going to be when they first announced it. Maybe it will be so successful, they may make it a permanent staple on their menu again. I don't know. We'll see. But the other thing is, a lot of franchisees, whenever this meal deal was about to launch, were complaining because they're not going to be able to make money on this deal. And what they're doing is hoping that people will come in and buy something in addition to the $5 meal deal, which this article simply leaves out those details, and we just don't know if people are doing this or not. The other thing is, this whole $5 meal deal that the McDonald's launched has been subsidized by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola kicked in millions of dollars towards this to help franchisees turn somewhat of a small little profit on these meals, because if it wasn't for that kick in from Coca-Cola, people who own these McDonald's restaurants would be making no money on this. So it's like, okay, you're getting an increase in customers coming in, but if it's not putting any additional money into your pocket, how does it help your business? It doesn't, right? But all the other fast food restaurants are trying this as well. It's not just McDonald's. You have Wendy's doing something like this. Burger King's doing something like this. I even saw Subway now is trying to lure people in with some kind of a roll-up or something that they're doing for just a few dollars each. They're all trying to offer these crazy cheap alternatives to their higher priced items on the menu to get people in. Even Starbucks is doing this now. Whoever thought the almighty Starbucks would be hurting? That's like saying Amazon is losing business, right? But they even had to start offering a 50% discount to customers who use their app to order on Fridays to see a big surge in uptick in their business, guys. But here's the thing. All of these gimmicks, because that's what they are, they're gimmicks, are temporary. These are all things to temporarily lure people back in. And they probably cannot continue offering these things on a permanent basis because there's no real money in it. So it's kind of like a big experiment to see, is this going to help us or not? So my question is, what's going to happen when the deals dry up? Whenever they're not offering the $5 meal deals anymore, or the $3 roll-up sandwiches at Subway, are the people going to continue coming in? My guess is probably not, because that's the reason they had to start all this stuff to begin with. And then when the people stop coming in, they're right back to square one. So what did this really do for them in the end? Nothing is the answer. And the other thing is, this just goes to show you how bad things are, guys. This economy is not recovering the way that we're being told. If it takes deals this cheap to get people into stores just to see an 8% increase in foot traffic in your business, clearly something's broken out there. I mean, I think the only way they could really get more people in there than that is to basically give it away for free. And even then, you're going to get a lot of people that still won't go and get it, like me. You know, I don't want free McDonald's. I don't want to eat that. Do I eat In-N-Out burger here and there? Yeah, but guess what? I get the burgers protein style, so no bun, and it's not something I eat all the time. But people are clearly looking for any sort of value they can get right now, because another report just came out this week talking about how the foot traffic at the dollar stores like Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and Five Below are seeing a jump in their stores right now when you compare to stores like Costco and Walmart and Target. According to the same data firm that actually collected all this data for McDonald's, which is Placer.ai, they say that the visits to the discount and dollar stores grew by 11% year over year. So not bad, actually better than what McDonald's is seeing even with gimmicks. And these dollar stores don't have gimmicks. And in fact, a lot of people even make fun of it, saying it's not even the dollar store anymore. It's the $5 store now. Pelicans are having a feast today. I've seen a bunch of them out here on the bay just diving all day long for fish, so must be a good day for eating for them. Now, you all know that I was on the go for about a solid month there, on the road, staying in all different types of hotels, restaurants, things like that, and using their Wi-Fi along the way. And if you're someone who uses public Wi-Fi a lot, then you definitely want to have a VPN, and that's where today's video sponsor comes in, Surfshark VPN. And let's face it, guys, everybody's doing doom traveling. Everybody's doing doom spending right now, right? You want to get the best deal on your doom spending? A VPN can help you with that, believe it or not, because you can use the VPN to mask your IP address. So every time you visit a travel website, you can use a different IP address with the VPN, and that will help you see different results for booking hotel rooms, for booking flights, things like that. And it can actually save you hundreds of dollars. So if you're going to do the doom spending, you might as well save a few bucks. And let's face it, if you're like me and you don't like having a lot of your data exposed online, this is also going to help keep your personal information private. Also, Surfshark themselves, they collect no personal data about you, your location, or your online activities, so your info is safe with them. Secure your privacy with Surfshark today by entering my coupon code Michael Bordenero for 4 free months at surfshark.deal/Michael Bordenero. Here's the interesting thing too. These dollar stores are even seeing a bigger increase in other discount grocery stores like Aldi and Trader Joe's, even the cheap gyms like Planet Fitness, things like that. Those places are still not seeing the amount of foot traffic that the dollar stores are seeing right now. And another interesting observation about this, if you ask me, is that a lot of these dollar stores are going out of business. You know, you've seen the 99-cent store here in California completely fold up. But one thing that is interesting though, is this Placer.ai only tells you about foot traffic. It says foot traffic at the dollar stores are up 11% year over year. But it doesn't say that how much the sales are up by. So just because people are walking through the door and coming inside and browsing doesn't necessarily mean they're buying anything. And how many of those people that are coming through the door are actually stealing stuff and not buying anything? You know, with the fast food restaurants, it's a little bit different, because if you're going to go into the fast food restaurant, you know, what are you going to go in there for besides to eat? You know, for me, usually on the road, I just stop in to go to the bathroom. So if they count people like me that come in to just use the toilet and leave, then they might be getting some false data points here. And what a lot of people are speculating is that people are going into these dollar stores looking for cheap grocery deals, because food has gotten so expensive and it's something everyone needs. That's the reason people are going there. It's not like they're going there to buy a bunch of the cheap Chinese crap. They're going there looking for deals with food, guys. And in some areas, those are the only places to even buy groceries at. So naturally, they're going to see an uptick in people coming in if you have the Walmart that just closed down the street. You know, we talked about this too, where you're seeing dozens of these big Walmarts and Targets and things like that that sell groceries close in areas where crime is high, and then what you end up with and all that's left are dollar stores. So naturally, they're going to benefit from those big stores leaving the area. It even says here in this story that pretty much confirms what I just said, that the sales at these dollar stores are being driven by the consumable category, which means that customers are relying on us for the value of the items they need most often for their families. So think of things like food, paper towels, toilet paper, laundry detergent, dish soap, things that people need to use on a regular basis for their household that's cheaper to buy or more convenient at these places. And this all comes at a time when, remember, Dollar Tree is going to be closing 1,000 underperforming of their family dollar stores. Okay, because they had a $1.7 billion loss in the fourth quarter of last year. But somehow these places are the ones that are winning right now with the amount of people coming into the stores, guys. I think it just goes to show you how messed up things really are right now. And you know something else that's messed up is how many people are looking at their house right now as their biggest asset and their potential biggest source of cash, you know, sitting on the sidelines waiting to be deployed. Completely gone are the days when people just look at their house as a place to live. Everybody looks at the house now as some form of an investment. If you're an investor, obviously it's 100% an investment. But even if you bought the house to live in, people look at it as their piggy bank. How much equity do I have? How much money can I pull out of this house in order to keep paying my bills, in order to act like I'm rich, in order to buy another house, whatever? According to the federal data, as of early 2024, the US has about $32.8 trillion in home equity. That's a representation of all of the home equity throughout the entire country, which is how much the homes are worth minus all the mortgage debt out there. In fact, home equity has quadrupled since the low of the last housing market crash, okay? Back in 2012, the nationwide home equity was sitting at 8.2 trillion, and today it's at 32.8 trillion, guys. So it has absolutely ballooned. And people are looking at this like, now, how can I use this money? You know, because a lot of people, most of their wealth is tied up into their house. Right now, the median net worth in the US is about $192,900. And that's up 37% since 2019. So basically, people's net worth rose in the amount that the housing market did in most areas. And according to this data, most homeowners count their residence as their primary asset, with the typical American home being worth about $323,000. That's just the nationwide average. And that's not their equity, that's how much their house is worth and they could probably sell it for today. And then here's the crazy thing that I don't understand about people, guys, because I'm someone who benefited from this too, okay? I bought my place at pre-pandemic prices, even though I purchased it at the beginning of 2022. The price I purchased it for would be a price I would have paid in like 2017, no joke. And so I benefited from the run-up in home prices too. I've seen my equity surge as well. But I don't know why a lot of people look at this as a good thing, because unless you're selling and cashing that equity out, it really doesn't do anything for you. In fact, all it does is make your life more expensive, because now your property tax bill is higher. My property tax bill has gone up every year since I purchased my place. And guess what? Just like I talk about here on the channel, my property tax bill doubled from where it was when I first purchased it, because the previous owner had the unit for a very long time. And once I became the owner, the bill went up by twofold. But so many people are jumping for joy that their house is worth more now, which doesn't make any sense to me, because they're all in the same boat. They all have to pay higher property taxes now. And unless you're selling it, you're not realizing that gain. Well, it turns out the reason why people celebrate this is because they use their house as a piggy bank, and they look for ways to pull the equity out of the house. That's why you see the refinance activity through the roof right now, because people are pulling that equity out of their properties and using the money to live, or to just go on vacation, or to pay their bills, whatever it is that they're doing. But the sad thing is just as much as that equity helps these people on the way up, it helps them become richer, right? Basically, they're using the money to buy things in life they wouldn't normally be able to afford because their house is paying for it. Well, just like it helps them on the way up, it also hurts them on the way down. And anybody who saw yesterday's video, you can see there are several dozen places across the country where home prices are coming down substantially. Some places are over 20% down from the peak back in 2022. And there's also places across the country that are now worth less money than it was back in March of 2020, guys. And when that happens and you pull all the equity out of your property, guess what can happen? The bank will call in that loan and say, wait a minute, your home value has dropped substantially. You need to pay us all this money back. Well, if you used it to go on vacation or buy a new car or whatever, you don't have the money. Oops, what happens now? They're going to foreclose on you. You're going to be forced to sell that house, and now you're going to have nowhere to live. And we really haven't seen a lot of this happen yet because a lot of places are still holding their value in this housing market. But you can guarantee that as the values come down and people start having negative equity in their homes, a lot of people who are taking out these home equity loans are going to have them called in, and they're going to end up losing their house. Now, I wanted to share one of my viewers' stories that was sent to me, and she asked to remain anonymous, so she will be, and it's about banking troubles, okay? And it's related to real estate here because when you sell your house, you expect you're going to get paid by the title company and have all your money after the sale, right? Well, apparently that doesn't always happen to people, which is the first time I've ever heard of something like this happening to someone. So what happened to this person is she closed on her home on May 20th, okay? And the funds for the home were wired to her bank account the next day on May 21st for $300K, but the lender wanted $22,000 held back in escrow until the roof was repaired, probably something that was negotiated in the contract. So once the roof was repaired, then the final $22,000 was wired to her account on June 5th, just about a week later, a week and a half later. Well, it turns out what happened is after this extra $22,000 was sent, it's nowhere to be found. The money's not in her bank account. What happened to it? And she's banking with US Bank, by the way. They're the ones who kind of lost her money here. She had to go into the bank and she had to contact the risk department, okay? And the bank didn't even have a phone number for their own risk department. That's how unorganized this is. And once her bank finally got in touch with the risk department, you know what they told her? They said that her account was flagged because there was 2 large wires coming in, and the beneficiary listed on the account is a nonprofit called EFCC. They're a nonprofit that's been in operation for decades that has an orphanage in Mexico. But when you actually Google EFCC, what comes up is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. So this was flagged by her bank without any notice to her that they weren't going to approve this wire. And now no one knows where the money is. So what ended up happening is the bank jumped the gun way too quickly on this without even checking with her first, like, hey, are you sure that the beneficiary is supposed to be this company and not actually a person's name, because it's something that they typically don't see. So think about it, that last bank transfer of $22,000 that she was supposed to receive, it's her money for selling her house, she still hasn't received over a month later, guys. It is now towards the end of July, and that money is still held up. She doesn't know when she's going to get it, what's going to happen with it. I told her to keep me posted on this, and I would give an update here on the channel once we finally heard what happened on it. But this is crazy. It's criminal. It's her money. You know, the bank never asked her ahead of time, oh, hey, are you sure this is the account you want it sent to? Is this beneficiary correct? Knowing that there's going to be a big incoming wire coming in. Nothing like that. They didn't contact her first before flagging it to make sure that, you know, it is in fact a legitimate transfer. Nothing. They just end up holding up the money, and on top of it, not even knowing where the money is anymore is ridiculous. She should be able to sue the bank for this because they're holding up her money. They're not paying her interest on it, which they should be, by the way. And the money was sent through legitimate means. It wasn't through any sort of criminal activity to her account, which she has the right to name whoever she wants as the beneficiary. So nothing was done illegally or wrong here except for by US Bank. You know how the other day I told you that I'm not in favor of people doing these Mickey Mouse lawsuits for the fender benders and stuff like that? Well, this could be a situation where she's entitled to damages and actually sue this bank to get some money out of this, because this is crazy, guys. So I guess the one nugget of wisdom that you can gain from this is, number one, if you're going to have a big wire transfer coming in, like from a home sale, make sure your bank knows about it and make sure they know roughly how much the amount is going to be, number one. Number two is check who the beneficiaries are on your bank account. And if it is not a person, then it's something you might want to change before that transfer comes in, because that could have been one of the big red flags that held up her transfer here. So just a couple things that you can do to make sure that this doesn't happen to you. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you don't want to wait for my next video to come out, check out this one on the screen right over here, and I'll see you in the next one.